Hello, good evening and welcome to Newsnight. This bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi and on over 30 affiliates across the country. Coming up, Bank of Ghana points finger at Controller and Accountant General's Department as it absolves itself of blame in botched $12 million Pwalugu Dam scandal. We'll tell you why the Central Bank is asking the Public Accounts Committee to seek answers from the department.
If this was a loan from Bank of Ghana, certainly we will take over that oversight role. This was a government of Ghana project. We cannot speak on that.
We have more reactions from the Bank of Ghana, the Public Accounts Committee, where it announces a meeting with the Ghana Goldbod this week over the Gold for Oil Reserve program after commencing a financial audit into the Gold for Oil Reserve program.
There were quite too many issues under the Gold for Oil that we needed to unearth. And therefore, the board authorized an external audit. We got PPA approval for the audit just about 2 months ago.
Well, also tonight, a public health emergency is unfolding at the Teshie Camp 2 clinic, where the absence of running water is turning a place meant to heal into a breeding ground for infections. We'll bring you troubling details of how nurses say the lack of water is crippling healthcare delivery, forcing them to use their own money to buy water, while poor sanitation fuels the spread of infections. Coming up in business.
Well, Bank of Ghana added 100 tons of gold to its reserves for last year, worth $10 billion.
And a bit later, Ghana's airspace faces shutdown as air traffic safety engineers issue stark threat of withdrawal of services starting this Thursday over salary distortions and administrative failures. In sports,
Real Madrid part ways with head coach Xabi Alonso and appoint Abeloa as replacement.
We've got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 60 minutes. You can be a part of this show by sending us a WhatsApp on 055 11 11 997. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Ofori.
Details after this.
And you're welcome back to Newsnight. In our first story, the governor of the Bank of Ghana is absolving the central bank of any blame in the botched $12 million Pwalugu Dam project. The $404.7 million project, scheduled to begin in 2020, was supposed to construct a multi-purpose dam which could also be used to store excess water from the Madrid Dam spillage to curb perennial flooding in the north. Well, the project has since stalled after the initial $12 million for what was described as a mobilization advance to the contractor.
Well, the matter came up at the Public Accounts Committee hearing where members sought clarification on how the money could be retrieved from the contractor since no work has been done. But the BoG Governor Johnson Esiama says although the Bank of Ghana made the payment, it was on the instruction of the controller and they must be held responsible.
Borders on issues about value for money. That doesn't sit with us. As I explained, we go by the documentation. We are a banker, for government. And so controller, Ministry of Finance, those agencies will be able to explain who does the value for money checks. What we do is to go by the underlying documentation, that dictates how the account is operated.
With all due respect, cost of value for money doesn't come in at all. Monies were paid to a contractor, but no work was done. So, controller must have sent the documentation to Bank of Ghana for you to pay. So, in that case, it's controller that we have to go to. Is that the case? Because nothing was done over there.
Controller and any other agency will be able to speak to that, not us. Chair, if this was a loan from Bank of Ghana, certainly we will take over that oversight role. This was a government of Ghana project. We cannot speak on that.
Well, let's stay with the Bank of Ghana at the Public Accounts Committee a bit longer because a number of issues have been coming up with regards to the controversial Gold for Oil and Gold for Reserve program. And our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent James Aveji was at that particular event and joins us on the telephone lines for more. James, what are the details? Because we're learning the Bank of Ghana has triggered an external audit into the Gold for Oil program. Tell us more.
Well, Kenneth, so it became a matter of interest for the committee. In fact, it wasn't part of the infractions that came up, but the chairperson of the committee, as a matter of public interest. And it went on, and the governor revealed from a list of, losses he read, indicating that the Gold for Oil, for instance, in 2022 to 2024, recorded over 2.2 billion Ghana cedis. The Gold for Reserve, on the other hand, recorded some 5.6 billion Ghana cedis in total in 2023 and 2024 alone. But what they have decided to do was to terminate the Gold for Oil program in May 2025, as they believe that this is bleeding the country, especially the Bank of Ghana. And as we speak, they have gotten approval from the Public Procurement Authority to engage an external auditing firm to audit the books of the Bank of Ghana in terms of the Gold for Oil program, and a final decision will be taken moving forward.
There were quite too many issues under the Gold for Oil that we needed to unearth, and therefore the board authorized an external audit. We got PPA approval for the audit just about 2 months ago, and so that exercise is underway. In the case of the Gold for Reserves, as the name suggests, the objective was to help us build reserves. Now, based on the data that NA has provided so far, the evidence is clear that it is not a question of shutting it down, but it's the question of enhancing its efficiency, looking at inefficiencies that you have to take out. And that is why we went after Goldbod. I also have a table here I can give to you. You see the reductions that we have brought to bear. Madam Chair, it will interest you to know, for example, that until last year, especially the exports of the small-scale gold sector, we were just lucky nothing happened before 2025. Because there was no insurance component after those consignments land at the destination country. And we had to insist that we needed to protect Ghana, even for that 5% that had to be paid. And so currently everything is paid before the consignment is lifted. Otherwise, there has to be an insurance guarantee. So going forward, let's look at these aspects that we can fix in the interest of the country. And it calls for a unified approach.
And James, how do they intend to deal with the Gold for Reserve moving forward?
So, this week, a meeting is scheduled to happen between the Bank of Ghana and the Goldbod managers to deliberate over these issues. You will recall that on last Saturday, when the Goldbod CEO, Sammy Dempsey, appeared in Newsfile, he told the public that they are trying to see how they can take over the entire program from the BoG and implement it on the books of the Goldbod. And so some of those issues will be coming up, which would pave way for how this will be implemented, as to whether the BoG will continue to implement it through the Goldbod, or the Goldbod will take full possession of that moving forward.
Right, and the Education Ministry also appeared before the committee. What infractions did they answer for?
Well, they've been answering to the Auditor General's a report on the provision of some public toilets across the country, which projects have not been delivered fully. The Deputy Minister for Education, Clement Apak, have been promising that they're following up on all those. But the key issue he's been speaking to journalists about after the committee sitting has been the matter of the fees charging saga at the University of Ghana. He said they have fully mediated that issue and promising that the ministry will ensure that every single CD that has attached from students will be refunded to the students.
Rightly so. Any student who made payments above and beyond what we have just communicated to the public and to the university through GTech would get a refund. At least his or her, academic record will be credited with any outstanding balances, so they can be rest assured. But should students notice, probably by the end of this week, going towards the end of next week, that no such reversals have been done or no such credits have reflected on their records, they should let us know, and then we would alert GTech to crack the whip.
Away from Parliament, a disturbing reality is confronting patients at the Camp 2 clinic in Teshie, where walking in for treatment may instead expose you to infections as the facility struggles to operate without water. Nurses at the clinic say the worsening water crisis is severely affecting healthcare delivery, allowing infections to spread due to poor sanitation.
Now, according to the health workers, the facility frequently runs out of water, making it impossible to wash bedding or properly clean washrooms after patients have used them. They warn this is exposing patients to serious health risks and worsening already fragile conditions.
5 months now,
I haven't been able to cook and sell for about 5 months now.
Infection, because with the bed sheets, washing it is a problem. So I say spread of infection is really becoming high here. But because we can't get water to wash the bed sheets, if the person lies on it and we see, oh, this one is not dirty, so let the other patient use it. So infection is really a problem for us now.
Imagine wee. Okay, somebody would have to use the washroom, and since there's no water to flush immediately, the next person will also have to do that until there's a pile up, and then we are able to flush. So there really is going to be an infection spread.
I had to go back home because I wanted to use the washroom and then your hands, but because there is no water, sometimes you are tempted to use the sanitizer to wash your hands. Cross infection, it's not really helping us, so they should do something about it for us.
We purchase water with our own pocket money, and we have to travel distances to fetch water. Sometimes 20 cedis a day for the gallons of water. So when you come to Sachet, we spend like between 30 and 50 cedis.
Well, my colleague Ramat Bashiru was at the Teshie Camp 2 clinic, and she joins us in the studio with more. Ramat, what more did you find out from the clinic?
So, Pearl, beyond the clinic, the impacts of water shortage is being felt across the Teshie Camp 2 community. Food vendors in the community say the lack of water has forced many of them to halt operations, basically cutting off their primary source of income.
And he also spoke to...
5 months now,
I haven't been able to cook and sell for about 5 months now. I have to travel to Osu and Labadi just to buy water before I can work. The situation is really serious, and the authorities need to do something about it.
Yenye be ye aduane nepa ne yefi osuton ene afaka akọ osuton ene akọ penso a mi de benu aduane nne na mi be yo mi tra ono iso na mi be dali kura no titwe bi pera mi de dwale ye na mi baaye na mi benu aduane na ehia mi aduane kura mi de benu anu kura mpo enso aduane na mi de benu anu
ye hu nyina ahihye pure water na ye to na ye de dware.
We are bleeding because we have to buy sachet water for domestic use. I've stopped cooking because I don't get water. I can't use unhygienic water to cook and sell. So for now, I've stopped working.
So, Ramat, those were the voices of food vendors. Now, you also spoke to some of the residents in the area, and what did they tell you?
So they have described the daily hardships, which includes long walks in search of water, escalating cost of sachet water, and growing fears of disease outbreak as basic hygiene becomes increasingly difficult in the area.
Ramat Bashiru, thank you very much.
Let's go onto the telephone lines right now and speak to Communications Director for the Ghana Water Limited, Stanley Mate. Grateful for your time this evening. This issue has been persistent for years. When is it going to be resolved?
Okay, thank you for the opportunity to have a word with the people of Teshie, Nungwa, and surrounding communities. In October 2025, we informed the public that due to some maintenance and legal issues, we were going to shut down the desalination plant in Teshie, Nungwa. And we have done so since October. And then the only way that we can serve the people within that enclave is to distribute the water that comes from BoG into Tema, Ashaman, and other areas with the people of Teshie and Nungwa. And so we have been managing the situation since that time. We put out a new rationing program such that every area was going to receive water 2 days in a week. And so we have been managing it since October through November and December. But we have just entered the dry season, and especially within the Christmas holidays when there are a lot of people at home and doing a lot of house chores, we realized that demand actually increased, so it became a bit of a challenge. But we did everything possible to ensure that people had some water. We have also encouraged people to store enough water whilst water is flowing so that you survive on, because you're going to receive water twice in a week. And in some areas, we also admit that there are some areas where, by virtue of their location, they don't even have enough pressures, so it becomes a bit difficult for them to store some water. I must say that we are very sorry. We apologize to the public for the inconvenience that the situation has created. But under the circumstances, we all have to bear with the situation so that so that we all see the way forward, or we all see the best way to come out of this challenge. Now, I have mentioned that there are two reasons why we have shut down the treatment plant. And then the other is maintenance. You realize that with all our treatment plants throughout the country, they have an average age around 40 years. Why or how do we have our treatment plants function for 40 years and still functioning give us a very good output? It's because of our maintenance culture. It's because of our standard operating procedures that we strictly adhere to. And same way with this treatment plant, with the new desal plant, that is our expectation. So it is a build, own, and operate arrangement, and then transfer. So BOOT, build, own, operate, and transfer. So government got some investors to invest into the desal plant. They own and operate the plant, and then after 25 years, they hand over they transfer the ownership to Ghana Water Limited. Now, every month we pay a capacity charge, and then they sell bulk water to us, to which we distribute and then pay back. Okay. Now, after 25 years, we expect that when the ownership of the plant is transferred to us, we expect the plant to be in a certain condition where we can use it for another 25 years. So if the plant is not maintained to the extent to which we can get access to a very good plant and then use it for another 25 years, that becomes a bit of a challenge. And that is why, as Ghanaians, as Ghana Water Limited, we are insisting on some level of maintenance so that we can have a very good plant. Now, we are also insisting on the plant because we expect that the water that is shined out or pumped out of the plant meets the standards to which will not create challenges for Ghanaians. As a company, we have 2 or 3 standards that we use. We use the World Health Organization's drinking water standards, and then the Ghana Standards Authority standards for drinking water. Now, the Ghana Standards Authority standards is higher than WHO. And then as a company, Ghana Water Limited, we also have our standards, which is higher than that of Ghana Standards Authority. So every water that is pumped out of any of our treatment plants meets a certain threshold that is safe and wholesome for consumption. And that is what we expect from the desal as well. Okay, so that is why we are insisting on a certain level of maintenance so that we can get good quality drinking water.
Mr. Mate, point well made. You did indicate that this issue started persisting since last October, if I got you correctly, but that is unfortunately not the case because I live within that area and water rationing has been a big issue for so many years. And in fact, you are lucky to get water once in a week. Now, my question is, yes, you've given us all the issues. When is this rationing going to be over?
Because I also live within the community. Okay,
yes.
Until October, every area was using an average of 4 days in a week. Okay, rationing has been ongoing for a very long time. We don't dispute that. But then a few people were getting 24/7, but the rest of us were getting an average of 4 days in a week.
I'm afraid, Mr. Mate, that is not the case. With all due
When
respect,
shut down the treatment plant,
with all due respect, that's not the case.
I'm saying that I also live within the community.
Which side? Because
okay,
I don't know
there's
of
no
any,
motivation for me to lie.
I don't know of any area in Teshie that gets water 4 days a week.
I come from Teshie. My name is Stanley Marty. I come from Teshie. And I live in Teshie.
If you can give me a specific area where they used to get water 4 times in a week, I'll be very grateful.
And I'm saying that I come from Teshie. Teshie is my holy village.
Yes, and I'm
a
saying
village that I cherish and respect. I wouldn't lie over my people.
So which part was getting
when the
water 4
desalination plant came on board, every area was receiving an average of 4 days in a week. There are certain times that we have challenges. When we have challenges and then the volumes are reduced, definitely it will affect the rationing program. But I'm saying that averagely we get water 4 days in a week. I wouldn't lie on my respected people.
With all the respect, that is not what I have experienced.
There's no need for us to argue on this platform.
But my issue right now is, when is this issue going to be resolved? That's the concern right now.
Under the circumstances, we are doing everything possible to ensure that by the end of January, we should end this impasse. But I can't give a definite date because I've mentioned 2 issues. When it comes to maintenance, as engineers, we can give ourselves timelines and say that we'll finish in a week or 2. Okay? But when it comes to legal issues, I can't predict that it can end in a week or 2. But now that government has gotten involved and government is doing everything possible, that everything goes well, we are hopeful that latest by the end of January, this impasse should end and we should put the plant back in operation. Let me also state that as we apologize to the people, we want the people to appreciate the fact that everything we are doing is in the interest of the people, because we need good quality drinking water for them. And we need the plant also in a certain condition where we can use it for a very long time. And that is the cardinal issue that we all must appreciate. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you could join us this evening. Stanley Mate is the communication manager at Ghana Water Limited. Pearl?
Well, let's bring listeners more stories. And Joy News is learning that some contractors are taking money from frustrated drivers on the Tema Motorway to allow them make illegal U-turns as work continues on the Accra-Tema Motorway expansion project. The project engineer, Ben Saki, confirmed that some workers were found collecting cash from motorists to access routes meant strictly for construction vehicles. Following investigations, he says those implicated have been interdicted, sanctioned or dismissed. Mr. Saki insists the contractor has moved to clamp down the practice, warning that unauthorized use of construction bypasses compromises both safety and the integrity of the project.
Some of these things are difficult for us. As we keep on sacking them for those who are collecting money on those diversions, we try also to close those crossings where when we are closed or we are no more going to use those sections. We try to put the new Gyasi barriers there.
On the motorway, we have created some crossings. These crossings along some of the sections of the motorway is not meant for the public. These crossings are meant for our trucks, and we have put some flags made there to ensure that our trucks and our equipment crosses these sections safely. They are not supposed to collect money. I've heard about this about 2 or 3 times. Those people, anytime I got the information, we sack the people from there. And then we put a new people there. But we have counseled them. We have given them orientation, training on how to handle those sections very well. I don't know how the exchange of the money from the flagmen and the road user come in.
Try to use the metal rod, lock it with padlocks. What happened? We started this, and within a short period, the people came to vandalize, they stole all the metal rods for these crossings.
That's not all. Ben Saki has also been providing timelines for the completion of the expansion project.
All things being equal, as you said, we'll make sure that by the end of this year, we'll be able to, or let's say the first quarter of 2027, the urban highway sections all will be open to traffic.
The last time we worked on the existing motorway auto patches was September 2025. So the next time, the next 3 months, it enters the December, is where we said, no, if we are supposed to carry this activity, already we can see already seasonal traffic is already mounting on the motorway, and it will be difficult for us. So we have to go to the bridge. When we come back, we can do it. So we have all the locations where those energy photos are started again. And then from this month, we are going to work on it. We have been maintaining the public can attest to that almost all the sections you can see where we have done some patches of asphalt and the rest. It's being done by with the contractors.
Okay. Let's stay a while on road construction, but this time to the Ashanti region, where the Carrier Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service has raised alarm at the rate of motorbike and tricycle accidents in their jurisdiction. MTTD Commander Assistant Superintendent of Police Jacoba Brew attributes the surging figures to disregard for safety measures and road traffic regulations in the operation of such vehicles. Though statistics for the area are not readily available, the MTTD says fatalities have often been recorded. Nana Yaojima has more in the following report.
At least 40% of the country's road accidents involve motorcycles or tricycles, which have become a regular feature on the roads. Aside from private use, the Okada and Pragya are heavily patronized in commercial activities, phasing out regular taxis and minivans in some areas. Following concerns of safety, Parliament passed the Road Traffic Amendment Bill, expected to regulate activities of the operators. Ahead of the rollout, the police believe there is need for the operators to respect road regulations on speeding and responsible road usage. In Carrier MTTD Commander ASP Jacoba Brew believes reversing the road carnage is largely dependent on the riders of tricycles.
I plead with you to respect the police whenever you're on the road. It is relevant that you adhere to their commands on the road. It is for your best interest. Most of you disregard your authority on the road.
The MTTD has partnered the traditional authority at Mansute in the Ashanti region to roll out the first of a series of sensitization events for the commercial motorbike and tricycle operators. Chief of Mansute Nana Akwesi Okon II expressed worry at the motorcycle-related carnage.
If they tell you to insure your tricycle and get the requisite license, it is in your best interest. You can decide not to do the right thing, but when you are involved in an accident, you will understand why you have to obey their authority.
For Joy News, Nana Yaojima, Kumasi.
It's now time for business, and George Riafe is here with the latest. George, what have you got for us?
Well, Kenneth, the Bank of Ghana buys about 100 tons of gold last year to aid its foreign exchange buildup worth $10 billion. And Ghana Revenue Authority assures of meeting more than 200 billion Ghana cedis tax collections target despite recent reliefs and rate reductions. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Synthesis tanks and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. Welcome back to business on Newsnight. The Bank of Ghana bought about 100 tons of gold last year to aid its foreign exchange build-up for last year. Now, there's improved its foreign exchange reserves in monetary value by $10 billion. The Bank of Ghana Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama disclosed this when he appeared before Parliament's Public Account Committee. Meanwhile, since the Bank of Ghana started the domestic gold purchase program in 2021 to aid its foreign exchange build-up, it has added more than $17 billion in terms of the gold bought in monetary terms. Let's still stay on the Governor of the Bank of Ghana's appearance at Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, because Dr. Johnson Isiema has revealed that the bank will publish its 2025 financials in March this year. This should settle the current debate about its exposure to Goldbod and losses posted due to other programs that the Bank of Ghana is undertaking.
Now, for 2025, and as we have indicated, this data is under audit, and we will want to wait until the audit is over. So, as I've mentioned, it's not a question about losses then and now. It is that these schemes were introduced to address a specific national problem. What to do going forward is how to reform it, how to make it more efficient. A number of things have been done by us. If we have time, I could run you through them by way of reforming it. I have all the details here. I can provide to your committee to read for yourselves. But going forward, our appeal is to move in a unified manner. We want everyone to get on board, to reform this better, and to sharpen its efficiency so that it supports economic stabilization, it supports our reserves build-up going forward. At the Bank of Ghana, we have started. This week, our board is having a joint meeting with the board of the Goldbod for a start. Beyond that, we are going to be meeting with other stakeholders, and we will be happy for experts in Parliament to join us. We believe that it can be made a win-win.
And that is the Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiema, addressing Parliament's Public Accounts Committee in a separate development. The Santohinio Tumfo 32 has appealed to Ghanaians in the political class to spectrum to support the Bank of Ghana, describing the institution's role as unique and critical to national development. He made these remarks after paying a courtesy call at the Bank of Ghana to appreciate the operations and other developments.
I will appeal to the nation, to both sides of the political divide, to give the governor, my son, and his team a chance. Give them the respect and the space to perform their professional duties. Support them along the right path and offer counsel as necessary for the good of the bank. Sure. This is our bank. We have entrusted to them. It is our lives we have placed in their hands. If they fail, we risk collapse. If they succeed, we walk in wealth and glory.
That is the Santohinio Tumfo Osei the second. The Ghana Revenue Authority has assured that it will be able to meet its end-year tax collections target despite the recent release and tax cuts. Now, some analysts, including the International Monetary Fund, has warned that Ghana could struggle to meet its end-year target of more than 200 billion Ghanas due to these tax cuts and VAT reforms. But speaking to Joy News at our PM before Parliament's Public Account Committee, the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Anthony Sarpong, says the target would be achieved.
And we are GRA, this is our core mandate. So we are poised to make sure that right from the beginning of this year, we are working effectively to ensure that we deliver on this revenue mobilization, because we believe that the revenue mobilization is the lifeblood of our national development, and without which the vision of the president will not be achieved. So you would achieve. We are poised to achieve this revenue and to ensure that not achieving it, but also ensure that we are even able to exceed it in a manner that allows the ministry and the government to deliver on the mandates that they have presented to Parliament for development of the nation.
Anthony Sarpong is the Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority. Consumer demand for goods and services have picked up strongly since November last year. Now, that's according to new findings by research surveillance firm Maverick. The spike has been influenced by the city's record appreciation against the dollar and the continuous slowdown in the rate of inflation. Development has seen consumers return to bulk purchases instead of small portions. Meanwhile, the chief executive of Maverick Research, Ato Maeka, had earlier explained to Joy Business that development has also influenced businesses to chop prices.
We see some businesses dropping prices from that in that sense. If you look at food, edible oil, and some of those categories, we see promotions around that among the key staples. In that sense, electronic goods, so TVs, etc., we see discounts and promotions being run, right? But in terms of our survey and what we've seen, we did 2 waves, the first one in June and now one got closed about 2 weeks ago. What you see is how Ghanaians are yearning more for discounts or price relief. And I say price relief intentionally, that we're not only looking at just a pure reduction in prices, but actually enhanced value in terms of what the money can buy or how many the quantum that it would. So yes.
And that is the chief executive of research surveillance firm Maverick Ato Micah. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Kenneth.
Well, thank you very much, George. It's now time for sports, and Benaya is here with the latest. I hear that another big coach from a big club has been sacked.
Charlie,
Who is
people
it?
are losing their jobs this year.
Hey. Yeah.
Entered January, Maresca lost his job. Amorim has lost his job.
Yeah.
And the latest, Xabi Alonso.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Alonso's sack is, you look at his record and you're saying, certain clubs would imagine or want to have this kind of coach right now in Madrid. Isn't that the standard?
That's what separates Real Madrid from the other
others.
clubs, you know.
You have Amorim
who was mediocre for almost 2 years.
Because imagine 34 games, you have 24 wins, 4 draws, and 6 losses, and you've already lost your job.
Yeah.
All right, so Alonso has left his role as Real Madrid head coach, and Madrid announced the news 3 hours ago following Sunday's Super Cup 3-2 defeat against Barcelona with a statement. Although the board does not believe Alonso is solely to blame for the situation, according to reports, they are unhappy with the team's image and recent results with the Los Blancos, 4 points off the leaders Barcelona in La Liga. Now, furthermore, there is concern that a significant part of the dressing room does not have a good connection with the head coach and his ideas. So that means former Real Madrid and Liverpool fullback Alvaro Arbeloa takes over from Xavi Alonso with immediate effect. That's it for sports, Kenneth.
I think the defeat against Barcelona was what?
And we also report that he doesn't go along with Vinicius and some of the big guys in the dressing room. You know, when these things happen, there's always one winner. They always sacrifice the coach and leave this place.
It actually depends, though. If the coach's performance on the pitch was good, all these wouldn't have mattered.
And I think even though they were getting the results, he wasn't still able to implement his ideas and the football they were playing. The fans weren't really happy and all that. So that's it. Madrid with the standards.
I'm still looking at which big coach will be the next victim. Anyway, Benaya, thank you very much for bringing us the latest in sports there. And let's bring you more stories, pal.
And Ghana's airspace could grind to a halt as the Ghana Air Traffic Safety Electronics Association threatens to withdraw its services over what it describes as deeply entrenched welfare and administrative failures at the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority.
In a strongly worded statement, the association says it will withdraw its crucial services if its long-standing grievances remain unresolved by January 15th. And they are blaming the management of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority for years of fruitless negotiations, repeated broken assurances, and what it calls sustained bad faith engagement that has pushed the situation to a breaking point. My colleague Collins Frimpong joins me in studio with details of that particular statement. Collins, what are the reasons for this potential strike?
Ken, this was contained in a 4-page statement, and according to the association, this action is in line with Section 159 and 160 of the Labour Act 2003 at 651, which satisfy the statutory obligation to provide not less than 7 days prior notice before the commencement of any lawful strike action. It also said that it decided to escalate the dispute after years of unresolved concerns and failed negotiations with the Civil Aviation Authority on their welfare, despite repeatedly engaging in dialogue, mediation, and arbitration in good faith. No meaningful outcomes have been achieved. The decision also is driven by management's inconsistent positions, previously labeling the association as non-essential workers in 2016, but now claiming they are essential workers to support their current case before the National Labour Commission.
And we know that they are making a plethora of demands. What are they?
So first of all, issues presented to the board on the removal of one Mr. Ebenezer Sego as the Director of Human Resources, and after he oversaw members recruited placed as junior staff in 2012, repeated the same thing in 2014 and also 2019 despite intervention of the Director General. The issue was repeated in 2022. Another concern raised regarding salary distortions created under the supervision of the current Director of Human Resource, and also the Ghana Air Traffic Safety Electronics Association are also demanding that full implementation of one Dr. Imoro's report, which clearly outlines needed to restore industrial harmony. So these are some of the demands that they are making.
Interesting. You've been engaging the president of the association. What has he been telling you?
So according to Engineer David Anand Mensah, the Ghana Air Traffic Safety Electronics Association embarking on the strike will mean that there is no guarantee of safety within the Ghana's airspace.
Our job is very simple. We ensure operational reliability of all ground-based equipment, namely communication, navigation, and surveillance. That supports air traffic operations and air traffic control operations. So once it plays down our tools, it means that may affect the integrity of Ghana's airspace.
And does it also mean that potentially there's going to be a disruption at Ghana's airport, especially at Kotoka?
We cannot tell for now because when you don't deal with flights at Kotoka, we also deal with route flights which are not coming to Ghana, but they are just crossing over. You understand? We are relying on our systems to cross over to maybe neighboring country or so.
So it is rather the airspace.
Airspace. Yeah, in the airspace that our activities will affect. We cannot guarantee the safety of the Ghana's airspace.
Now let's bring you other stories. And the Minister for the Interior, Mohamed Muntaka Mubarak, has announced the arrest of one person by the Ghana Police Service for allegedly using social media to lure and deceive unsuspecting individuals in an attempt to compromise the ongoing police recruitment exercise.
According to the minister, the police acted swiftly after detecting the activity, tracked the suspect, and effected the arrest. The suspect is expected to be arraigned before court as investigations continue. Well, the minister, who visited several recruitment centers in Accra following the commencement of documentation and body inspections for applicants seeking to join the police service, assured the public that the security agencies are on high alert to prevent any criminal interference, stressing that the process will be fair and transparent.
One person, at least for now, because we are working with Eagle Eye, and believe me, we are using all the resources available to us: National Signal Bureau, NIB, CID, PID. We are using all, and we are working with Eagle Eye online what people are doing. So you try it, we immediately go in and zero on you and grab you.
Will it be put before court?
Yes, obviously, because the person is being processed. I want to believe that today, tomorrow, the person will be put before the court, because we just don't want to compromise this process at all. So we see the slightest thing, we won't even wait for you to commit the crime. Once you advertise it, we know that the intent is clear, so we'll come after you. And for this one, we are not sure whether he has been able to get any victims, because we saw it, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, and by Saturday we've been able to zero down and grab him. And we want to believe that he may be working with some other persons. So we are trying to do all those. And I'm very confident the Director General CID is on top of it, and we'll make sure that we'll get all of them arrested.
Well, the minister also noted that proper measures have been put in place to ensure the recruitment process is conducted fairly, describing protocol recruitment as a thing of the past.
And this idea that, oh, I can give it to somebody and that, please, if someone collected your thing, tell them they're going to give it to Minister of Interior, please forget it. You go through the process. Obviously, there are people that we need to consider. And I always say, people have to use our protocol. I say, well, I don't know why you call it. The police will tell you, they have men and women who are helping them with their spouse, but they are not officers. This is an opportunity for us to be able to help them to come in. People are helping them with their band, and now we are recruiting. It's an opportunity to give them the first option. The police require doctors, nurses, and other professionals. if, for example, after all this process, and we needed, so for example, a gynecologist, and we don't have, we'll go and pick somebody who is interested, even if the person hasn't applied, to take the person through, because we need that. Because supply. For those ones, yes. But this usual thing where people sit in the comfort of their home, they won't buy form, they won't do anything, and then they say, oh, protocol, and they'll send them. It's a thing of the past. That one, and the leadership of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, I have his firm support that we won't do that, and you can be rest assured. So those who are online trying to deceive people, please don't let anybody deceive you.
And residents of Nyangpanduri in the northeast region are once again gripped by fear following the mysterious disappearance of a middle-aged man. Well, the incident has heightened anxiety in a community already troubled by similar cases in recent years. Speaking to Joy News, the man's wife and his son say the family has been living in sorrow and uncertainty since his disappearance and has called for swift action from the authorities. The following report has more.
The missing man, identified as Dokin Jenlari, was last seen after leaving his home in the evening. According to family members, he told his wife he was stepping out briefly but never returned. His son says he's saddened by the disappearance of his father.
Waking up every day knowing that your dad is not around, he's not dead, you don't even know what you are thinking about. It's so sad.
He's, however, dissatisfied with the police's response so far and has appealed for intensified efforts to locate his father, dead or alive.
I'm losing hope on the police, but not losing hope to see my father. And this is not the first time this thing is happening in town here. I should be able to find my dad, even if it is the body. I should see the body of my dad and then bury him. I'm appealing to the government, whosoever that has the power to do everything possible to make me find my dad. That's the appeal I have right now.
He added that although he fears the worst, especially given reports of unexplained disappearance in and around Napanduri, his wife, speaking emotionally, says the family has searched tirelessly, but without success. She says sleep has eluded her since her husband's disappearance, noting that she has spent her entire life with him and she passionately appealed for his safe return. Joy News has learned that this is the 8th recorded case of disappearance in Napanduri in recent years. In most cases, the victims were later found dead, often with body parts missing. Lias Sutanko reporting from Napanduri for Joy News.
There are a lot of people.
We can now go to the Ashanti region, and hundreds of patients at the Komfo Teaching Hospital can no longer return to their homes after failing to pay their medical bills, with management saying it is compelled to keep them beyond their medically approved discharge dates. Hospital authorities say the increasing number of patients who owe the facility is worsening congestion, reducing bed availability, delaying surgical procedures, and placing additional strain on limited medical resources. Management further warns that the situation is exerting significant pressure on the hospital's finances and its ability to meet payment obligations to medical suppliers. Dr. Pakwesi Beidu is the Chief Executive Officer for the hospital.
There are a lot of people you wish they could go as I indicated, because once they are here, they occupy your bed, you need to feed them. Sometimes they are here for several days or weeks. But you cannot just say, get up and go. And again, you cannot say because you are not paying your bill, give me the bed, sleep on the floor. That is not human. But that contributes to some of the congestions we have in the hospital. When you come, you see, we render a lot of services from emergency. Some may go to the theater, some may from there go to the ward. But if you need to be sent to the ward, meanwhile the bed on which you are going to occupy is already being occupied by somebody.
And that's it for Newsnight tonight. But before we go though, Pearl, so there's been new words added to the Oxford English Dictionary. Can you guess some of them?
Oh, let me guess. What comes to mind now? Ghana must go.
Yeah, Ghana must go has been added to the Oxford English Dictionary.
Which other ones do we have?
We have Nyash.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Nyash is now added to the English Oxford Dictionary.
And it's spelled what? N-Y-A-S-H.
And then Japa.
Hey, then we all Japa.
Yeah, both are Nigerian slangs. So we've had a series of Nigerian words incorporated into the Oxford English dictionary. And that's how we wrap up Newsnight tonight. Thank you very much for listening. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Ofori.
Have a good evening.